Hi guys, hope you're doing really well, and welcome to Swings and Roundabouts. The Swings and Roundabouts are about just first Wednesday of every month, just catching up and having a little bit of a chat and topic around a few things. So yeah, hopefully you're getting some good some good tips and sort of strategies around this, but we're going to talk about a really heavy one at the moment, which I hear a lot from not only from my clients, but people around me. And that's, the state of business at the moment, which is, the cost of running a business is absolutely massive with the increase in supply costs, logistics, even everything that we do, we're finding that there's an increase in costs. So what I find is a lot of business owners aren't increasing their prices because of a couple of reasons. So I'm going to share a couple of tips tonight. But yeah, if you just put in pretty much in the chat box, when was the last time that you actually increased your prices? Was it 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, or you haven't increased your prices for a long period of time? I'd really like to really like to know where you're pretty much at. So yeah, so I've had David come in. January. Yep. So Sharon in January. I've had Dave last year. So obviously, Dave, you need to do it. The majority about 3 years ago, a couple of years ago. Yeah. New clients 1st of July, which I really encourage people to do. Carl, April. Yep. So quite recently, but what I try to get my clients to pretty much think about is twice a year. Start of the year, review your prices and see if you can make some changes, and middle of the year, because we have CPI every year automatically, but in the last couple of years we've had massive disruption in our business, and we're now getting the fallout of that, where every day, as I said, your suppliers could come and just be increasing it now and again. I spoke to one of my clients the other day, and he had an increase from one of his suppliers and didn't even know it. The supplier hadn't even put that through. So we're going to talk about that pretty much. But you know, I want you to be thinking about how much more money could you make if you or increase your profits if you just increases your prices. Maybe that's only 2%, 5%, but at some stage you need to be putting your prices up. Now, what I find is that I hear that a lot of people say, I can't, I've got to be really careful. If I raise my prices, I'll lose customers, and I know that optimizing pricing is really complex and really sensitive topic, but done right, it can be really beneficial, not only for you, but your clients as well. All right. And I say that because, people buy value over price any day of the week. Right. So the more you're charging, the more perceived value that people think that your product, your service, or you, whatever your business is, right, really portrays out there. So the perception is far outrights the price that goes on there. But as I said, it's a really complex thing to do, and it is a sensitive topic. And I just I have this conversation with a lot of people on a day-to-day basis, and the first thing I say is, when was the last time you raised your prices? And a few of them quite recently, but majority of people a long time. And I ask them, why is that so? And they say, because of I don't want to lose my clients. I don't want to be getting being outprice myself in my own market, all those kinds of things, which is a common thought pattern. But I'm going to relieve some of those for you today. All right, a couple of things. So just move forward. If you've got any questions, pop it in the chat box. But I just want to try and keep this a little bit of a workshop today, because I did get a couple of feedback saying, can it be a little bit more of an informational one? So I'm going to try that today, and I think this is probably the perfect opportunity to actually do that going forward. So anyway, what I've got is I've got what I call the 9 steps to raise your prices. Okay. And if you follow these 9 steps, right, I can guarantee that you can raise your prices and get rid of those little bit of the thought patterns around it. Now, there is a bit of a process that you need to go through. And the first 3 is you need to identify who else providing the same or similar products to you, right? So this is all about doing a little bit of research, right? If you're really worried about raising your prices, then do the research, and I can guarantee it'll make you a lot better prepared for raising those prices too, especially your loyal customers, right? That's where I get the biggest sort of objection from is, from my clients. Yeah, I have a lot of loyal customers. I can't really raise their prices. Do you know what? They're expecting to raise your prices for one, but do the research. Identify who else is providing the same or similar products or service to you, right? Name them, put them down on a name, and write down the details of their offering. Is there anything different that they do? Are they all doing the same thing? Right? And understand the impact on your business of various price increases. So, we have different products, we have different services within our business. It might be a fact that you want to raise your prices by 5 or 6% across the board. Some products might be, 2 or 3%, but other products you can raise 9 to 10%. Right. So you've got an average across the board. So just understand the impact. Also, about your cost for running your business as well, right? As I said before, we're having rising costs in everything that we do. What I see is it's alleviating a lot of the profit margins out there, and profits are getting eroded. So if you haven't done it in the sort of the short term, I suggest that you do it pretty quick. Start following it. Do the research, or really hire someone to do the research for you. There's outside people that will do this research, will look at your competitors, right? Put their products down there, see how similar they are, right? And put a price bracket to it. Then you can evaluate where you're at. Decide how you can add value to your offering. Okay, this is where I think is a really important point for a lot of businesses, where they say, geez, I'd love to raise my prices, but, as I said before, might price myself out of my market. Well, look at adding more value to the offering. Right. This is where that research comes in really beneficial, because you can look at your competitors, you can look at other people out there with similar products and see what they're doing. Then you can look at how you are delivering or your products changes, and that is the value that you can start offering to justify the price increase. Learn how to articulate the value you add. What I mean by that is, right, when you look at the value, so in my coaching programs, I have a lot of value. Right, it's how you actually articulate that into your marketing or your communication out there to the people that you do. Also, clearly state the reason for your price increase in a manner that is acceptable to your customers. Now, as I said before, your customers are getting it left, right, and center in everything that they do, from their home purchases to their business. So they're really expecting a price increase across the board, right? So, you just got to clearly state it that, things are happening. We're in an uncertain times now. Our prices, be really clear about it. But your customers, I can guarantee, will accept the price increase, right, over it. You've got to test cautiously, right? Just don't raise your prices without knowing the impact of your business or your customers, right? As I said before, right, a lot of business owners believe that they'll lose a lot of customers. In my past experiences, raising the prices by 5 to 10%, you lose about probably 3 to 4% of your loyal customer base. But within 3 to 4 months, probably 80% of those people that you lost will come back to you anyway. Okay, so think about that. That is, history with a lot of my clients and a lot of my businesses as well, when I've looked at, not only raising the prices, but actually increasing my price structure. Last is understand how to leverage your additional profits. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is, a lot of business owners, they get more profits and then they waste the profits. Okay. What I say to business owners is that you need to invest at least 1 to 2% of your profits back into the business as a minimum. So, whether that's marketing, putting it into, technology, something that's going to help your business a little bit more. But it could be even that retention sort of program that you have in to retain your customers on an ongoing basis. But the point of the matter factor is that when you're making additional profits in your business, Okay, use them effectively, leverage them to grow your business more. Okay, so I mean, like I've just gone through a little bit of a scenario with one of my clients that's increased their prices. They've got they're making some more profit in their business, so they're actually increasing their product range to help their clients scale a little bit more in what they do. So they're investing in their own business, which is going to help their clients in the long run. So really, really valuable to think about that. So what I mean, what kind of value, if you want to put it in the chat box right now, what kind of value do you have, right, that you're not communicating out there in what you do right now? So that could be additional products, it could be something that you do. David said, oh, he's got products that his customers don't even know about. Okay, so that's really, really interesting. Think about, if you've had a loyal customer base and you've increased your product range or your service range, but you haven't communicated out there. Perfect opportunity to go out there, right? Raise your prices, increase your, your level of your pricing out there, right? And add these additional products in there as well. Really, really good. What else we've got? Value, yeah, around servicing. Yeah, servicing is a little bit harder than a product, okay? Because, with servicing, it's an intangible product, and I understand it's hard to communicate a service out there because, with a service, people don't get results until you start working with them, right? So things like accountants, business coaches, all the coaches out there, right? They need to work with their clients to get the results. So really, really hard to add that value before they use it. With a product, they can touch, feel the whole lot. So thanks for that. Yeah, really, really good point. But same thing. If you've got an intangible product, what value can you add? A lot of it, when I look at value, I look at bundling products together, right? So I can increase the prices, bundling a few things together, especially if you've got some old stock, if you're a bricks and mortar business, or you're an e-commerce business and you hold a lot of stock, or you've got some stock that's not moving, then bundle them up with your products that are selling out, increase the prices, and you'll be able to get it that way. So there is ways around it going forward, but really, really important to understand that going forward. So things is that I get asked, why should I raise my prices? Okay, well, there's a couple of things. As I said before, the first one is that you're probably struggling with your margins being eroded, or your profits being, you're not making as much profit because your costs are going through. So that's one of the main reasons why you should be raising your prices. The second reason is that, when I talk about being having a market dominating position or being unique, right? Price is a major factor in that. If you charge more, you then become unique. You then start becoming a little bit of an apple in a basket of oranges. You stand out. Right now, you've got to back that up with the value and what you do, but people gravitate to you specifically for that because you're different. You're not the same as your competitors. So perfect opportunity to raise your prices and start setting yourself up as a leader, right, rather than a follower. And what I say is you need to dominate your market. What you do is you start raising your prices, you start adding some value, you start stepping aside from that bucket I call your competitors, right, and start being a leader in what you do. So perfect opportunity to raise your prices and get going from then on. So I just had a question that come through. Yeah, raise my prices. Yeah, how do I, yeah, look, how do I cut costs? Cut costs is another thing, right, that's going to help you profit, right? So when we're talking about cutting costs, right, I don't like looking at cutting costs as a strategy. It is a great strategy about profit line, right, but not necessarily keeping your prices the same and start looking at your product or services and start cutting back on that. I think that's where that message is, that message is coming from. So what I say about that is, right, don't ever start discounting or devaluing what you do to keep your prices the same. Okay, really, really valuable information. I see that a lot where businesses struggle. As I said, their margins might be eroding a little bit, so they look at getting a cheaper product that they're going to sell, right, which is going to save them. I don't want you to go down that path. I want you to be looking at increasing your product range, getting a better value product or service, and increasing your prices. That's where you should be looking at going forward. But really, really good point. Donna coming through. So yeah, really, really good. Okay, so moving on, right? As I said, why should we raise our prices? So there's a couple of reasons why you should be looking at raising your prices if you're really, really scared of doing it, especially, right? This might just take you over the edge thinking, well, geez, this is a reason why. As I said, the first one is leverage. Right? You can then leverage that money to increase your business. It's going to help your clients or your customers get a better sort of relationship or a better experience from using from you. So, more money coming in, the more you can do with your business. It increases the perception of value. As I said before, value is the key. People will buy on value over price 10 times more. Right? So always look at value over price any day of the week. It brings in high quality customers, right? Think about if you increase your prices, right? You then start getting rid of your C and D grade customers. They're the problem customers to you. They're the ones that, don't pay on time. They give you the biggest headaches. They give you the biggest returns and, all those headaches. I put them in the C and D grade customer barrel. Right. I leave them for my competitors, right, to sort out. I really want to concentrate on my A and B grade customers, which is my highly qualified customers. You raise your prices and I can guarantee that you'll start moving in that direction where you'll start attracting and servicing your higher quality customers. That might be, paying you more, are more happy with your customers. They're more loyal to you, but more importantly, they're a referral for you as well. You have a good experience with the business, you're more likely to refer, right? So, raising your prices will attract those people into your business. The next one is you can offer greater value, right? So, if you raise your prices, more profit come in, you can increase your product range, you can add value to the customer experience coming in with you. So I want you to be thinking about this going forward because it's very, very vital that you start building your business, right? Business is just like a tree. Right? If it's not growing, it's dying. You just don't know it. So you've got to keep on innovating to get to the next level. And one of the things that you can do is, as I said, raise your prices and it'll start differentiating yourself out. And the most important thing is it puts more money in the bank. Okay, this is, most businesses that I meet and I service, they're a profit business orientated model, which means that they need to make some money at the end of the day. So, raising your prices will definitely put money back in your pocket. So, couple of things. Do your research, and if the numbers support a price increase, then just do it. Now, what I mean by does the numbers support a price increase? Well, you should be increasing your prices somewhere along the line, but it might just not be going across the board and increasing everything by 6-7%, right? It might be some 2%, others 10-15%. When I had my retail food business, I would do an increase in prices twice a year, as I said, at the start of the year, right, and in the middle of the year, right? Consistently, especially with all my franchisees as well. It was part of the franchise agreement that they review their prices, and it was a recommended retail price. Now, what we would look at, we had probably about maybe 20-30 different products that we sold in the food courts from it, and we would look at each product individually, see the profit margins in it, and see if we could move. And in some products, we increased by 10-15%. Other ones, right, which were highly competitive in a food court market, we might only increase by 2 or 3%. But across the board, you're getting about an 8 to 10% increase, right, in your across the board, which is really, really important if you sell a lot of products. Okay, look at your market and say, well, okay, does it really support a price increase, or Can I leave it and look at something else to get that increase in there? But just do it. That's the biggest thing. Don't put it off. You just got to justify a real clear and compelling reason why you're doing it. And as I said, your customers are expecting this right now. So perfect opportunity to actually go and start putting that strategy in place. You can use that additional profits to build the business of your dreams. Whether that's, if you're looking at an exit strategy close by. I've just had a client a couple of weeks ago looking at an exit strategy. He's put the prices up before he's left, right? It's under management now, right? He's, living the dream at the moment, but he put in all the processes before he left, and now he's reaping the rewards from it. So, really, really important, right, going forward. Now, questions and answers. So, I'm going to open it up to you guys for any questions that you've got or anything that's really, really concerning you. So if you want to unmute or pop it into the chat box, quite happy to answer those. So Trinity, have you got anything that you'd like to add to that?
Hi, Paul. Sorry, I was just holding the unmute button there.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So, have you got anything to add about raising your prices? As I said, a lot of business owners out there are really, really worried about increasing their prices, especially in this environment right now. But as you could see, we need to do it as a business owner going forward.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people are in tune to what's happening with inflation. So everyone's feeling the pinch, and they understand like supporting small business involves keeping up with those kind of costs. But I think that your point was really poignant about the increase in value, and that applies to product-based businesses as well as service-based businesses, where if you are able to increase the value that you are delivering without increasing the cost of delivering that product or service, then you are able to raise your prices and increase your profit margin at the same time, happy customers, and better bottom line for you.
Well, that's exactly right. And as I said before, that's around leveraging what you do in your business, right, as much as possible. So, value is really, really important, right, in this day and age. That's what, as a consumer, as a customer, what we're looking at is to get the best deal. And that's not specifically the lower price. It's the best deal. I've just done a little bit of a session this morning with a group of people just about an experience I had when I owned my restaurants. I had a restaurant which was highly successful, and what the competition around me, what they were doing was what normal business owners do, is that discounting, especially in the cafe and restaurant scene. They'll go in and they'll say, oh, look, come in and, we'll discount, you'll get a 25% discount or something like that, right? What they're doing is they're devaluing what they do. Okay, so what I did was I raised my prices, but I added some value. So what I did was, I would raise I had a little bit of a package where people would come in, right? Like a couple would come in, right? Used to charge them $60 for a 3-course meal. Right, I increased that to $70. Right, so I raised the prices, but I added some value in there in giving them a specific menu and a good bottle of wine. Right, so the perceived value was massive. The bottle of wine only cost me like $8 to $10. Right, but on the menu, right, it was valued at $35. So people, thought, well, okay, the perceived value for that bottle of wine for $35 for an extra. I gave the bottle of wine for free. That's what the incentive was, right? So they got a $35 value for free when they came in, but I increased my prices by $10. So, already made some margins in it, but that's how I increased my prices. So you are right. It's about adding that value.
And I really like that example that you've used there, Paul, because you're exactly right. It's about adding something that's got a higher perceived value without increasing your cost of actually delivering that that product, which is, the restaurant example is fantastic. But you can apply that to service-based businesses as well. So whether it's a coaching business, like you used that example before a minute ago, like how can you make sure that you're delivering some outstanding value upfront without overly extending yourself with increased costs that is going to perceive, just increased value there. So you're able to increase your prices.
Yeah, definitely. I had another client that had a patisserie, right, and they really need to increase their price. They were out in Northbridge, and bundling was what they did. So they bundled up a really, a perceived value product, right, which was only cost them, I think, $1 to make, but the perceived value was about probably $10. Okay, so really, really perceived high perceived value. They bundled that up with a couple of other products, right, and then made a package out of it. So their margins went through the roof just by doing that as well, but they increased their prices. Increase their margins, and they increase their prices just by adding that value in there. So it is important to look at your own business. What perceived value can you give out there that's got a good real resonates with your customer base or your target market, and start putting that in there if you are struggling just raising your prices out there. Yeah. Okay. Any other comments of anybody that wants to sort of chime in? What about you, Jackie? Any comments around that? No, Jackie's might not be with us. Okay. All right. Yeah, I had David just say, look, David said, can he add value by offering services to his products? Right. And the answer is yes. I know what you do, David. So the answer is definitely yes. So in this case, he actually has a product, okay, that he sells online as an e-commerce store. What I'd be suggesting he does is put some training or some tutorial videos together, which is going to add value on how to get the best out of the product. Right. So things like, training, educational videos, or something that's attached to that product that people can download, right, and have that as part of the product. That's just adding value to the product from a service point of view. Right. Really, really valuable. That's what we want right now. I mean, if you think about the risk value in buying stuff, right, our biggest risk is the product or service going to work? That's the biggest thing. So if you can start adding some value to reduce that risk, but obviously add value where you can increase your prices, it's a twofold exercise. So yeah, look, thanks bringing that up. Jackie, did you want to just chime in and let me know about if you've increased your prices or anything like that? So Jackie's in real estate. So she's just taking lots of notes and notes, which is great. Which is another thing that I really encourage you to do is in these sessions, have a notepad, because you will have some aha moments, some things that'll, those golden nuggets that you think, oh yeah, that's really, really good. Write them down, because a lot of the times I get people coming back and saying, oh, I know you spoke about something that was really, really good. I didn't write it down. I can't remember. Can you remember it? And, I can't, because we're all different in our businesses. So always have a notepad. I always have a notepad next to me, because, you always have those aha moments. So, yeah, great, Jackie. You're writing all these down, right? I've actually discounted through it. So aiming to looking at taking the value level up, which is really, really good. So well done, Jackie. You just need to start taking some of these strategies on board, implementing them. As I say in a lot of my lessons, information without implementation is useless. So, take these on board, right? If you are struggling or whatever, just reach out. Quite happy to catch up and talk about your specific business. But yeah, so, just moving forward, a couple of tips that I think is really, really valuable. If you're looking at increasing your prices, or you're worried about increasing your prices, just understand your costs, right? Really, really important. Before you increase your prices, it's important just to assess your costs and make sure that you're not pricing yourself out of the market, right? So look at that, right? Don't just put your prices up and think, okay, well, I need to do it. Let's just put the prices out there. See how it impacts you. Do a little bit of research around it. Understand the costs involved in it. Secondly, know your customers. Understanding your customers, their buying habits, their price sensitivity is crucial when increasing your prices. Consider conducting market research, for instance, right? Just to gather, do some polls, do some things out there. As I said in the first 9 steps, do some research, find out what your competitors are charging, right? Evaluate them on what, if it's a similar product, what are they doing differently than you, or what are you doing differently to them, which justifies the price increase. And I can guarantee you go through this exercise, you'll definitely find something that you are doing differently from your competitors. And that is where you can start communicating out there, justify the increase, and you will then start setting yourself apart. The third thing is communicate that value. Right? When raising your prices, it's important to communicate the value that your product or service offers. You just need to highlight the unique benefits, not the features. Always look at benefits, not features, right? That differentiates you, your product or services from your competitors. Right, just emphasize the quality and reliability, right, of your product or service. The other thing that I see in the market right now, and this has come out from the last few years where buying habits have slightly changed, is that we're looking at 2 things now when we're looking at purchasing products or services. And the first one is consistency. The second one is convenience. So consistency has been around for a long time, right? If you think about McDonald's, right? McDonald's don't have the best hamburgers out there. They probably don't have the best food. You might argue with me, but you probably agree with me. So why are they so successful? Because they're consistent. Right, I can walk into any McDonald's around the world and I know that there'll be a consistent product there. So they've been doing it for a long period of time. We're now starting to catch up. We want a consistent product. If we buy something today and we buy it next month, we want the same product, the same result. When we look at convenience, that's just jumped through the roof in the last couple of days. You think about Uber, you think about all the door-to-door services and how businesses are now innovating to have that convenience portrayed to their customers. I mean, I've got a dry cleaner on board, been on board for a long period of time. It's a family friend. He came to me about probably 4 or 5 months ago and said he's really struggling. How can I differentiate myself out there? How can I increase my prices and really set aside? We looked at the convenience side of it. Right. So now what he does is he has an offer that he goes and picks up the dry cleaning, right, from the people's houses. How convenient is that? And how many dry cleaners do that right now? He charges for it, but he has no problems in getting people to actually sign up for it. So he's making his money. He's increased his prices. He's now starting to set himself apart. So something to look about when, you're thinking about price increases. Think about convenience. Right? How can you add some more convenience to it and raise your prices, and that consistency out there as well? But, make sure that you're communicating the value. The fourth one, right? Just let me think, Carl, trying to think of questions, but mine's gone blank. A bit of a unique situation for me doing freelance sound design music. Well, Carl, yeah, we all have different unique businesses out there, and sometimes it's hard to get out there. You just got to try and think outside the square sometimes on, a few things. So look, the first initial stage is to just start thinking differently, get that mindset thinking differently. And that's what I want to try to portray in a lot of these sessions and, these lessons and what I'm trying to do. The fourth thing that I want you to be thinking about is sometimes you can implement the increase gradually. Right. So, look at your customer base. So for me, sometimes I might, if I need to increase my prices, right, and it might be a loyal customer, right, I might do it in a step-by-step process. So I might go out there and I'll communicate out to them that, obviously my increase, my prices or my costs of increases, right, I need to pass that on. But because you're a loyal customer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement those increases over the next 12 months. So you gradually bring it up over 12 months. Something that you can do, right, if you're really, really concerned about a loyal customer base and losing them because of your price increase. Just have that step-by-step process going up. Really, really important to analyze your customer base, really know your customers and see if that could be a good offering going forward. Provide incentives. right? Always add those bonuses and those incentives, especially if you're implementing the increases gradually and you're starting to add some value. Don't just give the value, right? And don't increase the prices to where it's got to go. Maybe start putting some incentives in place, some bonuses in place, and slowly get those prices up to where you need to go. So a couple of, tips there to take away from this. Couple of good strategies. I mean, biggest thing that I want you to take away from this is if you haven't increased your prices in the last 3 to 6 months, definitely do it right now, right? Make it a priority for you going forward. So where from now, right? I've got some group coaching programs running. So if you're interested in any of the group coaching programs that I'm going as an add-on to this, please reach out to me, send me an email, paul@businessstation.com.au. I've got a really, really good one coming up. For the last 4 years, I've actually run what I call a 50-week profit acceleration program. 50 weeks over a full year. This is the 4th time I'm running it. I normally start in about this time July, run to June the next year. Every week, it's a strategy. It's a video that comes out. So I've got about 6 places left for that particular program. So if you're interested in that, it's normally about $397 a month, but because you're in this program and Business Station has sort of helped me a little bit on this, right? I can do it for $197, right? So that's a fair bit off, right? So if you're watching the recording, right, get onto it, right? I do only have 6 places left, so get back to me within the next sort of 24 hours, 48 hours if you're interested, and I'll send you the information to see if it stacks up. There is a pre-qualification for it as well because I want to get results, and my vision when I started this was to help 10 to 15 businesses exceed, or really what I call dominate, their market each year. So I've been doing it for 4 years. This is the 4th year that I'm doing it, and I've had massive results from this particular course. So if you are struggling in business and you want some help, then reach out to me. I'll send you through that information. All right. Also, let people know about these swings and roundabouts. Want to try to increase the people coming to this. I think it's a great thing just to sort of get that message out there. So please share it to the to people that you know. We do have that closed Facebook group, which is has this recording on it as well, so you can attach that recording or get people onto the group, and they can start seeing the recordings, seeing the value that we add in here. Next week's topic is develop your uniqueness with this, which is with Kelly. Unfortunately, Kelly couldn't get to us tonight. She's feeling a little bit unwell, but she's going to do the next session, which is develop your uniqueness, which is really, really important when we talk about standing out in the crowd. But guys, look, if you've got any other questions, pop it in the chat or open up. But if not, then I might just leave it there and we'll move forward and have an early night. Try and keep it around about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So because we are all busy and whatever, but hopefully you've got some really, really good value out of it. Feel free to reach out, send me an email, paul@businessstation.com.au, and if you want to catch up and have a quick chat. But yeah, look, I'll leave it there. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a look at the recording, and we will talk very, very soon. Take care. Be safe.